Hello, trainers! Professor Palm here, and welcome back to March Meltdown. Now, I have to be honest, this whole week with fire is driving me over the edge. Right now, I swear, I'm being driven bananas! Ah! 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 Whew. Sorry, I lost my cool there for a second. But I have to be honest, I've been driven a little crazy. No thanks to these three little troublemakers here. All three of these little monkeys can drive anybody insane when they act out. Or, I should say, they can drive somebody bananas? Whew. Sorry about that, trainers. Now that I got that out of my system, why don't we get into some monkey business and talk about Chimchar, Monferno, and Infernape. These are some of my favorite fire-type starters. While they're not my all-time favorite, I would definitely rank them in the top 3. I have to say, something that really does impress me about them is that a lot of people don't often go for them. Mainly one reason is that people don't enjoy the redundant firefighting type. I understand it's a very repeating typing, normal flying, but I can also understand why some people just pass on them. But to be honest, there is more that meets the eye to them, and they are very good Pokemon to have in your corner. And one thing that really does impress me about these Pokemon is they actually show signs of Darwinism in them, with evolution, I mean. It's interesting where you see it go from reverse evolution to evolution with fighting skills and fire. Even though these Pokemon can be troublemakers, they're definitely great to have in your corner or take with you on a journey. It's kind of fun to watch a baby become an adult, especially seeing it through the idea of Darwinism and Darwin's theory of evolution. So, why don't we talk about them? And let's start off at the beginning with little Chimchar, the chimp Pokemon. Let's start off with Chimchar. Chimchar is the chimp Pokemon, and it is based off of chimpanzees because Chimchar doesn't really have a tail. Also, it's a baby chimpanzee, and similar to chimpanzees, Chimchar is a very, very good climber, as it loves to climb trees, and it also loves to climb craggy mountains. In fact, Chimchar in the wild love to make their homes in the mountains. One of the most distinctive features Chimchar has, similar to Charmander, is the fire tail it has. When Chimchar go to sleep, that is the only way their flame will go out. If you didn't know this, the fire on its tail is actually fueled by the gas within its belly. Also, Chimchar, when they do not have a fire on their tail, have their rear end look very similar to that of a baboon. And also, similar to the flame on their tail, Chimchar have a fiery hairdo. Chimchar, in the olden days of Hisui, were referred to as Lantern Tail because this Pokemon was seen as a walking lantern that could guide people anywhere they needed. But it was also feared, as some people, when not seeing it was a Chimchar, thought that the tail on fire was a vengeful wisp. Similar to baby chimpanzees, Chimchar love to play, as they often love climbing, they love battling, and they love making new friends. When in battle, Chimchar are very agile, and they're very quick on their feet, especially when they hit a problem. If these Pokemon find a problem, they think very quickly how to get out of it. And sometimes they just like to run away for fun, because it drives the other one crazy. When Chimchar goes weak, its ability activates, known as Blaze. Blaze can be very, very helpful in a battle, but it can also be very dangerous to Chimchar. If not trained correctly, Chimchar will go bananas. In fact, Chimchar's flame on its tail burns extremely brighter, and it even gets bigger. Also, Chimchar's red eyes take effect. Even when this Pokemon faces trouble, its Blaze ability comes in handy, especially when it's weak. You see, when this Pokemon is running low on HP or in trouble, its fire moves power up. Unfortunately, this can also be very dangerous if Chimchar is not trained correctly. You see, Chimchar can go bananas as its eyes turn red and its fire on its tail explodes with anger, and this Pokemon can go out of control. But that's a thing that will very easily not happen as long as you train this Pokemon as well as you can. As cute as Chimchar is in its basic form, its other evolutions also have some playful sides to them, even if their playful side is a bit more violent as they're firefighting. But they still do retain as much as they can to keep that fun side to them, especially when they become fighting type and have a lot more agile skills to add to the table. Seeing of that, we should see our Chimchar evolve very soon, and then we'll learn what happens when this thing becomes a firefighting and then gets much more quicker on its feet and ready to use all of its limbs, especially when it grows a tail. Now with Monferno, the playful Pokemon, Oh really? Come on, Monferno, this is not the time to be silly. Monferno, there you are. Come on. We got a show to do. Will you cooperate? Okay, good. Now, as I said, Monferno is a playful Pokemon that... Come on, Monferno. Really? We have a show to do. It's not time to stand on your head. There we go. Monferno's finally sitting down correctly. Now, when looking at this Pokemon, the biggest difference between it and Chimchar are its facial features, looking that of a mandrill and a golden snub-nosed monkey. You see, the brighter the blue and red are determines its ranking in the troop. Despite being called a playful Pokemon, Monferno definitely mean business when they're in battle, especially with their tails. They often hold their tails and people think they're being cutesy, but in actuality, their tail is their greatest weapon. It's kind of crazy to think that it starts with Chimchar with no tail and then grows one, having a torch at the end of it. Monferno actually used the blaze on its tail to scare off enemies and make it look larger, and it can even use this tail as another limb, especially when fighting. Not to say this Pokemon can't fight, as it has great fighting skills, but as a last resort, it likes to use its tail. Similar to the facial markings on Monferno's face that decide where it ranks within its troop, the gold bands on both of its arm come in handy with that too, and it's also great for camouflaging. In a lot of pictures, you see it of Monferno jumping. That's because Monferno, similar to Chimchar, are great climbers. They like to jump in the trees and jump down and surprise prey with aerial attacks. Kind of interesting that they can go for flying type attacks, which is a weakness of theirs since they are a firefighting type. Also, they like to take fights to the trees as well as to the rocks, as these Pokemon have been able to adapt to any of their surroundings and can easily fight and win. When this Pokemon evolves, Oh, come on, Monferno, really? This again? It's my fault for saying it could play later. Oh well. Anyways, when this Pokemon evolves, it takes its skills to the highest level. So, why don't we go beast mode and watch Monferno turn into an Infernape? Now, Infernape here is like Master Monkey from Kung Fu Panda, as this Pokemon is the monkey master of martial arts. Similar to Blaziken, Infernape is a firefighting type that relies on all its skills. However, unlike Blaziken and Mega Blaziken that rely on their feet as well as legs, Infernape, on the other hand, can use all of its limbs, especially its tail, when in battle. When Infernape is engaged in battle, some people say it looks like it's partaking in a dance with the way it fights. Also, the way its flame dances upon its head is also a sight to behold, because unlike Monferno and Chimchar, Infernape's flame never goes out, and Infernape can take on several opponents at one time with all 5 of its arms. Oh, did I misspeak? No, I didn't, actually, because similar to apes, which Infernape is based off of, its 2 feet act as another pair of arms, and so does its tail. So, this Pokemon can take many on with all 5 of its arms and still have enough time to take a break and even go for a little dance. One thing I really love about Infernape is I like that this Pokemon actually looks like it's wearing clothes, as it looks like it's wearing a karate gi, or what you'd see as the white karate robes. And I also like the golden markings on it, especially on its shoulders, which look like epaulets. As incredible as this martial arts expert is, you actually might be surprised to learn that Infernape is actually a short stack, standing at only 3'11". Not only does this make Infernape the shortest fully evolved fire starter, this makes Infernape the shortest fully evolved starter of all time. Just like Chimchar and Monferno, Infernape, when weak, activates its ability Blaze. The fire on its head burns crazy, very similar to of a wildfire, and its eyes turn dark red. However, this Pokemon often won't go bananas, since it's a martial arts expert and knows how to keep itself cool, calm, and collected, especially since it's grown up and has become a much stronger fighter, which makes its mind much more at ease to keep it in a safe state. While some people don't love Infernape, and some people say it's because of its redundant typing, Infernape are very helpful to have, especially since these are Pokemon that will jump into a battle without a second thought or fear of what could happen to them. As long as you're their trainer or you earn their trust, they will defend you till the end of time, especially since they see you as the leader of their troop. One thing I really do find fascinating about these Pokemon is the way they do reverse evolution as well as evolution in the Darwin idea. The way with their fire and fighting skills, showing that young ones as well as cavemen didn't know how to fight, and then as they got older and went more, they became better fighters, similar to the fire idea. Cavemen feared fire until the fire came onto Infernape's head, showing that that's its greatest weapon. It's also interesting to see the reverse version of Darwinism, as Chimchar starts with no tail, Monferno and Infernape then get tails. Pretty cool to see that Darwinism being used in monkeys, even if it's used in reverse form. While some people are not a big fan of these Pokemon for being firefighting type, I would say that they are definitely good Pokemon to have, especially for a starter. Even if they're not your favorite, they're great to have around. And hey, they may not be the 3 wise monkeys, but they definitely are fighting monkeys you'd want in your corner and can definitely hold themselves, especially when in trouble. Something that I think a lot of people overlook with these Pokemon, to which I see, is the fact that Chimchar represents a newbie or a beginner in martial arts, while Monferno represents the intermediate person who's doing their best, and Infernape represents the expert as well as a teacher. It's pretty cool to see that they all are martial arts experts, except Chimchar, being the beginner, goes to becoming a master, especially seeing all of Infernape's gold parts on it. One thing I don't think a lot of people realize about these Pokemon is the fact that they represent different parts of martial arts. Chimchar representing the beginner who just became interested in learning. Monferno representing the one that's in the middle, not bad, but not good either, with Infernape representing the master who worked their hardest and made it all the way there. In fact, the gold patches on Infernape's body can represent medals for all the battles they've won, which is kind of fun to think about, that these are all martial arts Pokemon, but we start from beginner and end on expert. Did you start with Chimchar when you played any of the Sinnoh games, or were you a person who leaned more towards Piplup and Turtwig? It's fine if you did. There's no wrong choice. For me, I went with Chimchar when I played Platinum. That was a great game to play, and Chimchar was a great partner to have, especially going with Monferno and Infernape too. Those guys are always worth it. Did I change your mind on these Pokemon? Or do you still not like them for other reasons? The biggest reason being that they're a firefighting, which is a redundant typing to begin with anyway. Normal flying. Well, I hope you all learned something new today about these 3 fire monkeys. I have to say, I feel a lot better now. This whole week was stressful, and these guys were driving me bananas! Okay, no more low-hanging fruit joke. Okay, I promise. That is my final joke for the video. Anyways, I want to give a huge thanks to TechraNova for my shirt. This one is called the Fire Ape Within. If you dig the shirts that I wear, you can buy them off Etsy from TechraNova. She is an incredible artist, and you should give her the business she deserves. Only if you want to buy a shirt, that is. I may not be sponsored by her, but I want to give her a big thanks. And if you liked this video, please leave a like. If you have an idea for a video, or you want me to talk about another fire type, or you wish to answer any of the questions I said, please comment. And hey, if you're ready to see what else heats up for March Meltdown, please subscribe. March Meltdown will continue to sizzle. Speaking of which, I'm really heating up in here. Anyways, thanks for watching. Palm out.